Okay, so are you ready to dive into all these Spider-Man 4 rumors?
I am. Definitely a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there really is. It seems like after No Way Home, everyone wants to know what's going to happen with Spider-Man.
Oh, for sure. The ending of that one really threw everyone for a loop.
It did. It really did. And we've got a ton of articles and speculation from all our listeners.
It's really exciting to see how invested everyone is, wanting to figure out where the MCU's Spider-Man is going next.
Right, exactly. So let's get into it. What do we know so far?
Well, the release date is set for July 24th, 2026.
Right, July 24th, 2026. But as for the title?
The title.
Yeah.
Now that's where things get interesting.
Yeah, we've got Spider-Man, Brand New Day floating around out there.
Brand new day,
And then we've also got Blue Oasis as another possibility.
Blue Oasis. That's an interesting one. Brand new day kind of makes sense. The whole starting over fresh vibe after No Way Home.
Yeah, it really fits with that whole idea of a clean slate.
But Blue Oasis, I don't know, it seems a little too peaceful, for a Spider-Man movie. Unless maybe it's a misdirect.
Ooh, a misdirect. I like that. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. We've got that Spider-Man Blue storyline from the comics.
Right, the one that looks back at Peter's relationship with Gwen Stacy.
Exactly. What if Blue Oasis is hinting at something similar? Maybe exploring Peter's past relationships, even incorporating elements from that storyline.
Oh, wow. That would be a huge twist, especially after No Way Home, where everyone forgot who Peter Parker is.
It would be bringing back ghosts from his past, like Gwen Stacy. That would be a real emotional punch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine Peter already dealing with isolation and loss, and then having to confront the memory of Gwen.
It would add so much depth to the story, exploring themes of grief and moving on.
It would be heartbreaking, but really compelling, especially for fans who know Gwen Stacy's story from the comics.
Right. It would be the MCU's chance to tackle that story in a new way, maybe even more heart-wrenching than the original.
I'm already hooked. But we can't forget about the multiverse.
The elephant in the room, right?
Exactly. At first, there were all these rumors about Spider-Man 4 being a grounded street-level story.
Back to basics. Yeah, I remember that.
But then we started hearing whispers about Battle World.
Battle World, Dr. Doom's little playground built from destroyed universes.
For those who need a refresher. Basically a patchwork planet of different realities.
It's wild. And it wouldn't be the first time Spider-Man has found himself on Battle World in the comics.
So you're thinking it's not just going to be random multiverse hopping.
Right. What's really interesting is how Spider-Man 4 could use this setting. Imagine Peter is stripped of everything familiar. His identity, his loved ones, his entire reality is fractured.
Wow. That takes the whole alone in the world thing to a whole other level.
Doesn't it? Suddenly, every encounter, every fight becomes even more desperate because the stakes are astronomically high.
Speaking of fights, we have to talk about villains.
Oh, yes. The rumors are flying faster than Spider-Man on his web shooters.
Let's start with the familiar face. The one that has everyone buzzing. Adrian Toomes, the Vulture.
Michael Keaton. He was fantastic in Homecoming. I'm all for seeing him back.
But what role would he even play in all of this? Especially if we're dealing with Battle World or emotional flashbacks.
There are some pretty wild theories out there. Some say he could become a recurring character across different Spider-Man projects.
Across different projects?
Right.
You mean like showing up in Sam Raimi's rumored Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire?
But exactly. Now that would be a crossover event.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But even if it's just in the MCU, the Vulture coming back after everyone forgot Peter's identity is fascinating. Would he even recognize Peter?
Right. That creates a very interesting dynamic. What if Toomes sees this new stripped-down Spider-Man as someone he can manipulate?
Ooh, almost like a mentor in a twisted kind of way.
Exactly. Someone he can mold to his own purposes. Especially if he still holds a grudge against Spider-Man from Homecoming.
And doesn't realize it's the same kid he fought all those years ago.
It would be a delicious twist. Don't forget about McGargan either.
McGargan? The guy with the scorpion tattoo from Homecoming?
That's him. The rumors say he's finally going to become Scorpion.
I remember him. He blamed Spider-Man for putting him in prison, right?
Yep. This could be his chance for revenge.
And there's even talk about Wilson Fisk being involved.
The Kingpin himself, pulling the strings behind Scorpion's rise.
That's a recipe for disaster Spider-Man, caught between the Vulture, Scorpion, and Kingpin.
It's a classic Spider-Man scenario, street-level crime lords turning into citywide threats. But what if there's an even bigger villain lurking in the shadows?
Okay, you've got to tell me, who are we talking about?
One name that has everyone talking, Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom, no way.
And the rumors say Robert Downey Jr. might be slaying him.
Hold on, Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom. That's unexpected.
Yeah.
but I kind of love it.
It's a bold choice, but think about it. Dr. Doom, the genius, inventor, and ruler with a technological edge, played by the man who was Iron Man.
It's like a dark mirror of Iron Man. And for Peter, who lost Tony as a mentor, to face someone who looks and acts like him but is completely ruthless.
It would be a deeply personal conflict, forcing Peter to confront the legacy of Iron Man in a way he never imagined.
My mind is blown. Dr. Doom as a twisted Iron Man, potentially on Battle World, with the Vulture and Scorpion running around. This is getting epic.
And we haven't even touched on that symbiote tease from the end of No Way Home.
You think Null, the King in Black, could be involved?
Some people think so. What if that leftover piece of the Venom symbiote leads to a confrontation with Null in Spider-Man 4?
Spider-Man and Venom teaming up to fight the King in Black.
Yeah,
It would be an incredible crossover.
it would be. With all these potential villains, though, it makes you wonder where the people in Peter's life fit in.
Especially with everyone forgetting who he is. What about MJ?
There are rumors that Zendaya's MJ might have a smaller role in this film, scheduling conflicts, apparently.
I hope that's not true. But if MJ is taking a back seat, does that mean there's a new love interest?
That's where the Blue Oasis title comes back into play. Remember that connection to the Spider-Man Blue story and Gwen Stacy?
Gwen Stacy. But she's...
I know what happened to her in the comics, but the MCU doesn't always follow the source material exactly.
So you're saying she could be alive in the MCU?
It's possible, and with rumors of Madeline Klein joining the cast, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Gwen Stacy possibly returning, MJ taking a back seat? This is a lot to process.
It is, and we haven't even talked about the possibility of other Spider-Men joining the party.
Wait, you mean Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
We'll dive into that and much more after a quick break.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Spider-Man 4 speculation. And we're back, still buzzing about those other Spider-Man. Could they actually show up in Spider-Man 4?
The internet seems to think so, especially when it comes to Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah, he's been very vocal about denying any involvement.
Just like he did before No Way Home.
And we all saw how that turned out.
Exactly. So even though he might be playing coy again, I wouldn't rule anything out.
And there are even rumors that if they do appear, their roles could be even bigger than in No Way Home.
That would be something. Imagine the three Spider-Men teaming up against a threat like Null or Dr. Doom.
I'd need extra large popcorn for that kind of epicness.
Think about it. The three of them sharing stories, comparing web shooter designs, maybe even giving each other advice.
Pure fan service.
No.
But the good kind.
The kind that makes you cheer in the theater. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What about other characters we might see?
Didn't we hear something about Charlie Cox's Daredevil having a role?
Daredevil?
Yeah.
His cameo in No Way Home was pretty awesome.
If Daredevil. Born again happening. It makes sense for him to team up with Spider-Man again.
It would be cool to see them working together. But how big of a role are we talking? Some sources say it's significant, others say it's more of a cameo.
Maybe he's a key player in the story. Or maybe he just pops in to offer some advice.
A guide for Peter. Someone who understands what it means to be a hero in New York City.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of waiting, where does Spider-Man 4 fit into the whole multiverse saga?
That's a good question. It's coming out on July 24th, 2026, right smack dab between Avengers, Doomsday and Avengers, Secret Wars.
And it's the only MCU film confirmed for that year. So it must be important.
It seems like it's a bridge between those two huge Avengers films.
So it's not just a standalone Spider-Man adventure.
Not necessarily. There are rumors that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has a big part in Doomsday.
So maybe Spider-Man 4 is about him dealing with the aftermath.
Maybe that's where the Brand New Day title comes in. It's not just about Peter starting over after No Way Home, but also dealing with the fallout of a multiversal war.
Wow, it connects a personal and the cosmic. A Spider-Man story that's both grounded and huge in scope.
Exactly. This conversation has been a whirlwind. We've gone from street-level crime to fighting gods on a patchwork planet.
Cameos, crossovers, emotional turmoil. It's almost too much for my spidey senses.
And we've only scratched the surface. Think about all the questions we still have.
And what will Spider-Man's new suit look like? Will we finally see the black suit?
And how will Peter cope with losing everyone who knew him? He's starting from zero.
It's exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time.
It's what makes speculating so much fun. We get to imagine the possibilities, look for clues in the comics, and come up with our own theories.
It reminds us that even though these are just rumors, Spider-Man is a character that people really care about.
We're all invested in his story, and we can't wait to see what happens next in the MCU.
We're going to take a quick break to gather our thoughts.
But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to wrap up this deep dive with a final provocative thought.
Okay, we're back. And before we wrap up this Spider-Man deep dive, we wanted to leave you with something to think about. One last idea to spark those Spider-Man 4 theories.
Remember when we were talking about Dr. Doom maybe being like a twisted version of Tony Stark?
Oh yeah, with Peter dealing with the loss of his mentor and everyone forgetting who he is.
Right, imagine Spider-Man 4 starts with Peter completely isolated and vulnerable, trying to figure out this new world where nobody knows him.
And on top of all that, he has to face a villain who's like a dark reflection of Tony.
It would be like his worst nightmare coming true. He's lost his anchor, his guide, and now he has to confront someone who reminds him of everything he's lost.
It would be devastating. You know, he'd be dealing with so much grief, anger, confusion, and he still has to be Spider-Man.
It would push him to his limits, forcing him to confront those unresolved feelings about Tony's death and what his legacy means.
It wouldn't just be about stopping Dr. Doom. It would be about Peter overcoming this intensely personal challenge.
Exactly. He'd be fighting for his own identity, proving that he can be a hero even without Iron Man.
It's like a coming-of-age story wrapped in a multiversal epic.
And who knows, maybe through all this, Peter discovers a strength he never knew he had. He finds a way to honor Tony while becoming his own kind of hero.
It would be a huge step for his character. He's not Iron Man's protege anymore. He's Spider-Man.
This could be the story that truly defines him.
Wow, that's a powerful image. Spider-Man stripped of everything, facing a villain who embodies his deepest fears.
It would be a test unlike any he's ever faced.
We've covered so much in this deep dive. It's amazing how many rumors and possibilities there are.
From titles and villains to multiversal crossovers and emotional journeys.
It's a lot to take in, but it shows how much Spider-Man means to people.
He's a character that resonates with so many of us, and we can't wait to see what's next for him in the MCU.
But until Spider-Man 4 swings into theaters, we encourage you to keep speculating, keep theorizing, and keep those spidey senses tingling.
Who knows what surprises Marvel and Sony have in store for us?
That's right. And remember, this is just the start of the conversation.
We want to hear your thoughts, your predictions, your wildest dreams for Spider-Man 4. Share them with us, and let's keep the excitement going.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep swinging.